Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer Stewart. I'll just go by Jen. And I'm here in beautiful BC in Canada. And I'm going to actually be talking to you today about my story with fibromyalgia. And hopefully the bird will be quiet in the background. If not, I'll have to grab the bird. Hi, Carol. I am going to sort of go through, first of all, telling you my story. Hi, Diane. And then after that, I'll kind of go on to a little bit about what I've sort of been doing to help with fibromyalgia myself. Hello, Linda. I'd love it because I know we've got people sort of from all over that are going to be watching here today live, and then we're going to have a lot more people that will be watching this on replay later because it is in the middle of the day on a work day. So I'd love it if you could all comment and just sort of let me know where it is that you are coming in from, because I know that we have people, you love the bird. You'll probably see the bird at some point in time. I know we have people from all over. Hi, Joanne from Edmonton. I hope it's not too cold out there. I know today it's kind of actually finally warming up, although we did get snow overnight. But the birds are chirping away outside, so I think spring is literally around the corner. From High River. Everybody's in the cold zone right now, I think. I hope you guys are getting spring coming soon. So my name, hi Diane, is Jennifer Stewart. I generally just go by Jen. I've had fibromyalgia for, oh gosh, a long time. I think it was back in about 2007 when I was first starting to get symptoms and was shortly after they're diagnosed. So I will tell you my story. First of all, I'm married, just about 50 years old, have 6 kids and 3 grandkids. And hi, Jessica. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Pat. Nice to have you guys all on here. And I have always been really active. Hi, Monique. I've had, oh gosh, probably always more than just one job on the go. My husband and I have always been entrepreneurs and had businesses. Hi, Karen. And just really been active. So when this hit me, it was something so far out of the normal. And it just really threw me for a loop. So back in 2006, this is going back a little ways here, my husband and I had taken a year off of work, and we had decided to design and build our own home. And we put in crazy hours, worked every day. Our kids all helped us out, and it was a really wonderful experience. And then at the end of that, it took us a good full year. And in December, we moved into our home. And in January, we had to start looking for work again. So we actually had the opportunity to purchase an existing business this time. And we purchased a commercial janitorial business. Knew nothing about it. Worked for the place for a month or two to get sort of trained at it, and then was in the deep end. Really enjoyed it, actually. Was quite surprised. Nobody says that they would enjoy scrubbing toilets, but I did like having these buildings that we were responsible for and having them look wonderful when we left. So we had this business through the spring. My husband and I both worked in it, and through the summer. And then into the fall, we noticed that both of us really weren't feeling that well. And it's not that we were working any more hours, because we worked way more hours when we were building our home. It just, something was really off. I was starting to get headaches. My stomach was really upset all the time. I just seemed way more exhausted than I really should have been. And my husband seemed to be, under the weather, just not doing well. And then late fall of 2007, my husband actually got very sick. And his story is, of course, intertwined with mine, so you'll hear a little bit about his story as well. He got really, really sick, and we thought it was the flu, pneumonia, and he started coughing one night so severely that he couldn't catch his breath, and we had to rush him into the hospital. And he was admitted into the hospital. They did chest x-rays, found out he'd broken all of his ribs from his severe coughing. They later that night told us that they were going to have to monitor him very closely. Somebody else had been in a few days before, similar symptoms, and had passed away after 4 days. So we were quite terrified, really didn't know what to expect, and He had, his oxygen levels kept dropping. It was just a really scary time for us all. He ended up getting through it, but the end result was that he had permanent damage to his lungs, less than 50% capacity, less than 50% function in his lungs, and later on we found out that his bone marrow was also damaged. So our lives were turned upside down. We went home, and by this point in time, this is into the new year of 2008, and my symptoms are getting steadily worse. I was at the point where I was missing 2-3 days a week of work. My husband was at home full-time, ill, in bed, on oxygen sometimes, nebulizers all the time, puffers up the yin-yang. I was struggling. I was trying to take care of my husband, trying to take care of 6 kids, trying to hold it together, and my health kept declining, and I kept working, and the headaches were every single day. My joints felt like they were on fire. My skin felt like it was sunburned. Sound and light really affected me extremely badly. I had a hard time keeping any food down. My stomach was in constant pain. I felt absolutely fogged right out. The brain just literally felt like it was barely functioning. I had a hard time finding words. Life was pretty miserable. And when you're trying to take care of somebody who is extremely ill and run a family and a household and get meals done and take kids to school activities and do story time with your kids, and you are not feeling well, it makes life really, really difficult. So this went on literally as our new normal for years, and there were times where honestly I really didn't know if I had the strength to make it through another day. There were times I would be out working, cleaning a building, and I would literally collapse on the floor in tears and lie there for 2 to 3 hours until I could get the strength to get back up again. There were days my husband would have to carry me to the bathroom because I wouldn't be able to get out of bed because it felt like my body was encased in concrete and I literally couldn't move. Life was really, really difficult. And about just over 3 years ago, I had a new staff member that was working with us, and she was giving me a little bit of time off on the weekends so that I didn't have to work quite so hard on the weekends. And she saw we were going away for the weekend, and I was just starting to catch a little bit of a cold, and she said to me, "Here, I've got something for you, and I'd like you to have." And she gave me this little thing here. I'm going to show you actually. Just give me 2 seconds. It's right here. So she gave me a little thing that looks like this. And I said, "Well, thank you very much." And I said, "But what is it?" And she said, "So it's essential oils." And I went, "Okay." Said, "Thank you, but what do I do with it?" She said, "Just roll it on over your chest and your neck, your bottom of your feet, whatever. And it'll help you with your cold." Well, being somebody who is on every medication under the sun with my fibromyalgia, I kind of went, "Okay, whatever, I'll try it." And my husband and I drove off to go visit our grandkids, and lo and behold, this thing worked. My cold kind of seemed to not really blossom into a great big cold, and the next day I was actually feeling pretty darn good. So when I got back, I said to her, "What is that stuff anyways?" I said, "This is the first thing that I've actually used that kind of made a difference, because when you're on every medication for everything, you're always looking for something that'll give you relief." And she said it was essential oils. And I'm not here to do an essential oil spiel to you. I just want you to understand how I got into looking at things differently. So she actually brought me to a class where I started to learn about essential oils. And yes, I did get into using them. But what that was actually like a step for me. It showed me that there were things out there other than all of the pharmaceuticals that I was using and all of the over-the-counter medications that I was using, things that were supposed to be helping me but really didn't seem to be giving me any relief. And all of a sudden I found something that was giving me relief. I was using these oils for headaches, and it was actually helping. I was using them for my achy joints and sore muscles, and it was actually helping. I was using them to help me sleep and to relax a bit, and it was actually helping. So what this did is it actually got me looking at, well, if this works, what else is there out there? Because, I mean, I was opiate pain medications. I was on prescription sleep medications. I was on anti-anxiety medications. I was on antidepressant medications. I was on fibromyalgia specific medications and everything over the counter. I mean, you name it. If it was over the counter and I could get my hands on it, I tried it. And they just really weren't cutting it. They weren't helping. It wasn't getting rid of the pain. It wasn't getting rid of the upset stomachs. It wasn't getting rid of anything. And this natural thing using oils was. So I started researching, and it kind of led me from essential oils to looking at natural supplements, herbs, tinctures, all of that kind of stuff. Found out about adaptogenic herbs and adaptogenic plants. I started looking at things like yoga, exercise, diet, and one of the big ones that was a real shocker to me is I started looking into chemicals. Now, as you remember, I said I had a janitorial company, a commercial janitorial company. So every day at work, I was exposed to all sorts of cleaning chemicals. And every day at home, I was exposed to all the regular chemicals that you'd have in your house for cleaning your kitchen, your bathroom, your laundry, your dish soap, all of that stuff that all had chemicals in it. And the more I researched and the more I found out, the more it finally started to click into me that my body had just gotten to an overload point. I'd been fine. I'd been perfectly healthy before we had bought this janitorial business. And after 6 months, all of a sudden my health started doing this massive decline, as did my husband's. And that exposure to all of those extra chemicals, on top of all the chemicals we had, and on top of our regular day-to-day stresses that we have to deal with, was just enough to, I think, hit that tipping point. So I actually went and saw a lady speak about the effects that chemicals can have on your body. She talked about endocrine system, which I'd never heard before, and balancing hormones, which I'd never heard of before other than women with PMS and hormones. And so I started researching more and more and more, and I started trying to remove these chemicals from my house. Went out, looked, bought tons of different stuff that said it was green and clean and environmentally friendly, and then did more research and found out 90% of the stuff that's out there isn't really green or clean. It's just marketing. So it actually takes a little bit of work, and that's a whole nother topic that we can get into another day. But I did finally start removing the chemicals from my home. So I was using natural supplements, I was using essential oils, I was using adaptogens, I was removing chemicals, I was starting to exercise, I changed my diet. I did try gluten-free, which definitely did help. And I just started eating actual real food, none of this processed crap that has chemicals all in it as well. And what I found that this did for me is it started to allow my body to heal. And after about a year of making these whole lifestyle changes, what happened is that my body started literally feeling better. The headaches, in a matter of probably 3 months, were virtually gone. And I mean, I had headaches every single day. I popped handfuls of ibuprofen and naproxens and acetaminophen every day. And the headaches were gone. And the feeling that my body was encased in concrete instead of feeling like that 4 or 5 days a week, that was only happening maybe once every week or two. The massive joint pain that would have me in tears wasn't there anymore. And then even my husband, he went from being, the kids would come home from school and 2-3 days a week there'd be an ambulance there and he'd be shipped off to the hospital. But after we started making the changes, that wasn't happening anymore. And then after about a year, I was feeling so much better that I actually approached my doctor and said, you know what, I really don't think I need all these medications anymore. And he supported me in making the choice to get off of all of my prescription medications. First thing I got off of was my prescription sleep medications, my antidepressants, my anti-anxiety medications, and the last thing that I got off of within a month was my opiate pain medications. Did go through withdrawal, which he'd warned me I would, and used a lot of the new skills that I had from my healthier lifestyle to cope with that, including the adaptogens and the essential oils and exercise. And lo and behold, about a month or so later, I noticed that, hi Crystal, that my body was even healing more. And it was, I can't even describe it. I mean, after having had years of, excuse me, of suffering where you didn't want to go on, being able to see that I was getting my life back was amazing. My kids were so happy that they could actually hug me again. For years they hadn't been able to hug me. It was so painful whenever they touched my body. I could start doing things with them again. I was going out hiking with them. We had the dogs out. We'd go cycling on the trails and through the forest. I started kayaking. I now paddleboard. It's one of my favorite things to do in the summertime. My life is back, and every month that goes by, I feel better and better and better. And it's not that I wouldn't say that my fibromyalgia has been cured, because I don't know if we ever do completely come away from having had something like fibromyalgia. I don't know if it does permanent damage. But I do know that the lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle that I'm living now, free of all of the toxic stuff that I was exposing myself to before, eating properly, exercising, using natural plant-based things like the oils and herbs and things like that, that it's made a absolute life-changing difference for me. So what I wanted to do is I've taught fibromyalgia classes in person and online, but I actually haven't done one for quite a while. And there's an exercise that I try to do with people when I do talk about the fibromyalgia and how, you know, I've managed to progress with it and do so much better, is I like for people to kind of be able to make a visual. So I actually have a piece of paper here, and I'll kind of show you what it ends up looking like, because it looks something like this. So what I ask people to do, and I'll do this along with you, and if you've got a piece of paper, great. If not, you can always do this afterwards. But in the middle of the paper is put yourself, so put your name, and also put down fibromyalgia. And then I just kind of do it as a circle. And then what I ask people to do is make a circle around that. And in that circle, so we'll have like a big bullseye that we'll make up. So I don't know if you can see that too well. So I haven't been on a lot of meds. Oh, that's good to hear, because I mean, Western medicine is based on pharmacy, pharmaceuticals, and it's hard sometimes to find a doctor that will look into something else, Crystal. And it's good to hear that your doctors are not, you know, pill pushers. And I don't mean to say it in a bad way at all, because there are lots of things that help. I know that I've met lots of people that say, oh, they love this medication that they're on, or that they're on. But to me, it's the side effects that were so troubling, and I don't think we really look into the side effects enough. So when you can have some kind of natural options, it's really a good thing. So get back to this. So you have your name in the middle with fibromyalgia, and then a circle around that. And then what I like people to do is to, in that first circle, is to write down the limitations that they have because of their fibromyalgia. So I actually write in their limitations, and I'm trying to talk and write at the same time, and I'm not very good at that. So things that limit you, things like pain, things like fatigue. For me, headaches was a huge thing that limited me. Another one that was huge for me was anxiety. And I'm not really sure where anxiety comes in with fibromyalgia, but I think everybody I pretty much have talked to ever with fibromyalgia has always had an issue with anxiety, and I'm really not sure why. And that's actually one place where the essential oils really did help for me, huge, which is, I don't know the science behind all of that, but yeah, it was a great thing. Another thing I found out that was a real limitation is like irritable bowel syndrome type symptoms. Another one was just sleep, not being able to actually get proper sleep. So I end up with a little picture, something like this, that has my limitations in it. And then what I'd like to do is I'll put another circle around that. And in that circle, I'll put in there just your daily chores, sort of what you have that you have to deal with every day. So in that, there would be, yes, that's true, Crystal, the side effects are scarier than the disease, very much so. And even if you're taking something as simple as acetaminophen or ibuprofen and you read the little pamphlets and it tells you what the side effects are, I'm sorry, but some of those side effects, they may say that stuff is really safe and it's safe to take, but I've researched a lot of that, and honestly, yeah, you really need to know what the side effects are and if those are a side effect that you're willing to risk having. So in with the daily chores, I write down things like I have work. I have a business that I run as well. I have in there things like childcare, taking care of the kids. I would have in the daily chores things like making meals. I'd have in there maybe laundry. All of these things that are just regular daily things that you would have to do every single day. Things as simple as, you know, showering, even getting dressed, visiting people, and, you know, having time with friends. And then the next list, so that would look at something like this now. And then the next list that I do beyond that is what I call my dream list. So if you did not have fibromyalgia, what kind of things would you want to be doing? And I think this one's actually kind of a fun one to do. I always have in there travel, because that's something that when I had fibromyalgia just really wasn't going to be able to happen, because I literally couldn't sit in a vehicle for a long period of time. Or if we did go somewhere, I would probably end up spending most of my time in bed with headaches, you know, trying to sleep, trying to recuperate just from the traveling of wherever it was we'd gone to. In my dream list also, I would have being pain-free, doing things like going hiking with the kids, doing things like playing with my grandkids, being able to go swimming again, which is something I used to do when I was younger and I really miss doing. Cycling is another one. I used to love cycling, and just, you know, with the fibromyalgia, wasn't able to do that again. Being able to actually go and spend time with friends, because when you have fibromyalgia, your life gets put on hold. So I end up with something that looks like this. And then what I put on the outside of all of this is what I call the triggers. And I think once you've had fibromyalgia for a while, you start to realize there's some specific things that you know that will trigger a fibromyalgia flare. At least that's the way I put it, where you go from being relatively stable to everything is out of whack and everything bothers you and everything hurts. So I know for me, my triggers are definitely if I overwork, that will set off a trigger. I know that chemicals. So if I am at someone's home and I can smell the fabric softener, and I can smell their spray air fresheners, and I can smell all the different cleaning chemicals and stuff like that, that will actually trigger off a fibromyalgia flare-up for me. I know that the cold can do it as well. I don't like the cold, I don't like winter. I know another huge one for me is stress. If I get stressed over things, that's it. Flare up, I'm no good to anybody for a while. Another one that really can affect me as well is noise. I can't take, I couldn't go to music concerts anymore. Just even the ongoing daily noise does get to me. Sugar, yes, huge, definitely. Diet, that would be another huge trigger. If I'm not eating the right stuff, then I know for sure that's a big one. Noise and light, exactly. Some people, light is really bad. I had one girl that worked with me for a short time, and she found she couldn't keep working because the fluorescent lights in the buildings were a huge trigger for her fibromyalgia. So once you have this huge paper with all of these things on it, the reason why I like people to actually put them on is because they can see it. And then what I suggest to people to do is to look at your daily chores, because there's an awful lot of things that we have on our daily plate that we have to do. And if there are certain things that you can remove from your plate, that puts less stress on your body and makes it a little easier for you to cope. And this is something that being a mom and a wife and a business owner, yes, yeah, some of your triggers will change for sure. That's right, Crystal. But being someone who's always been used to sort of taking care of everybody and taking care of everything, it's really hard to let go and ask for help. But it got to a point that there was no way I was going to be able to take care of my husband, take care of 6 kids, run a household, run a business, and do it all. So yes, weather changes for sure. So what I learned to do is to take those daily chores and to start farming them out. Luckily, at home, we had 6 kids. So my youngest one at the time was only 4 years old. His job became taking care of Dad. So he would actually literally spend a good portion of his time in the bedroom with Dad, hanging out with him, chatting with him, playing video games with him, which he loved, and watching over him, so that when I was at work, I knew he would be okay. There was somebody with him who could call 911 if he was struggling to breathe, someone who could help him with his oxygen, and just make sure he was okay. I had some of our older kids taking care of some of the household stuff. Every single one of the kids took care of their own laundry. The kids would all rotate doing suppers, which was amazing. They learned literally from about age 6 on to each be able to make a specific meal, everything from pot roast to chicken breasts with rice, you name it. So that way I didn't have to take care of that all the time. And for myself, with my business, I tried to put more onto my staff so that they could take care of things and I didn't have to work as much. And I let little things go. I didn't worry so much about making sure all the dishes were done or that the house was perfect. I didn't worry if I washed my hair and had a shower every single day. If it was every other day or every third day, that was fine because I was doing what I could. And so there was a lot that I could cross off of my daily chore list to bring my stress level and what I had to deal with down. And as I was able to find natural ways to be able to start treating some of the things that were limitations to me, I was able to naturally treat my sleep without the chemicals and the pharmaceuticals. And I was able to change my diet and use some natural supplements and things to help with my digestive system. I was able to use essential oils with the anxiety and be able to get rid of that, pharmaceuticals. Same thing with the headaches. When I got rid of the chemicals, they seemed to pretty much be gone, and I was using the essential oils for that. The fatigue and the pain, literally, the more chemicals I got rid of out of my life and the better I did with my diet, they just seemed to naturally kind of go away. So all of a sudden, most of the limitations that I had were gone. I was getting my daily chores sort of taken care of. I was able to look at what my triggers were and limit them as much as I possibly could. And then my dream list started becoming a reality. And it doesn't happen overnight. Crystal, yes, don't do everything in one day, definitely, and spread them out over a couple of days. And just realize you don't have to be, especially if you're a mom, you don't have to be super mom. I think it's kind of a thing that we all try to do way too much. You can just kind of, you know, take it easier on yourself and don't try to put so much pressure on yourself. So some of the things, I've got a list of some of the stuff I wanted to make sure that I did cover. Some of the things that I have used over the last few years as part of my sort of transition to a healthier lifestyle. I'll kind of go through a few of them. One of the big things that I said that I learned about is the chemicals. That was a huge thing. I really didn't realize that they did that much damage to us. And if you want to learn a little bit more about that, I do have a lot of great information on that. So just leave me a little message in the comments, you know, that you want to know about the chemicals, or send me a personal message and I will get back to you. So if you can really look into that, but don't be fooled by a lot of the advertising that's out there. Most of the stuff that is available commercially is filled with chemicals, even if it says on it that it's clean or clear or environmentally friendly or GMO or whatever it says, or has little plants on it or something like that. Most of it is still filled with all sorts of toxic stuff. So chemicals, chemical-free, huge thing. Another big one that I found was exercise. And when you have fibromyalgia, the last thing you want to do is exercise. There's days where you literally can't move. And even on the days where my body feels like it's encased in concrete, if I can actually manage to physically get out of bed and start walking, then I will put in 5 minutes. And I actually will feel a lot better after that. On every day, in a regular day for me, exercise is a non-negotiable. All the information about your research on chemicals would be great. Yes. Okay, definitely. Caitlin, I can get some more to you. Yeah, and you know what? Scared of trying oils? Oils is like one small part, honestly. It's just, it's something that's natural, and our bodies tend to, and they come from plants. So our bodies tend to resonate with something that's natural, that's not chemical and synthesized. So there's lots of options looking naturally, but yes, chemicals for sure. So back to exercise, it's a non-negotiable for me. There are days when I definitely do not feel like today. I dropped the kids off at school, or I shouldn't say I dropped them off. They drove to school and I took the car afterwards. But I went to the gym, did not feel like it. I just wanted to come home, have a shower, and start getting ready for my fibromyalgia class. But I went. I didn't put in more than about 40 minutes at the gym, and I didn't work too hard, but I went and I got a good sweat on and I felt better afterwards. Yes, I can send you some info on oils for sure. So exercise, as much as you don't want to do it, find some kind of exercise that you can. Find something like Tai Chi or yoga. You need to find something that you can do to keep your body moving. And really, you should be able to try and find something that, if you can, to get a sweat on a couple of times a week, because sweating is a way of your body for being able to detox. So any of the toxins and chemicals and stuff that we're exposed to daily that we really don't have a choice to, you can help get that out of your system. Yes, I can send you some info on chemicals as well, Crystal. So exercise, chemicals. Another one that was really big that I found out is magnesium. Most people that have fibromyalgia will test as being very low or deficient in magnesium. And magnesium works along with calcium. It helps with right from the cellular function. It helps with your muscles as well. The two of them work together for contracting and releasing for the muscles and everything else. So magnesium is something to look at. Not so much, I would say, as a supplement, although some people will take it as a supplement. Actually, topically is the best way to get the magnesium into your body. So if you happen to have a bath at home, having a hot bath with some Epsom salts in it, there's magnesium in the Epsom salts. You can actually get magnesium flakes as well. It's a great way to be able to get the magnesium into your system. It will absorb through your skin topically. If you're not able to have a bath, what I've made before is I've gotten magnesium flakes. You can get them at a health food store. Take a cup of magnesium flakes, a cup of water, put it in a pot. Don't boil it, but just get it warm enough that it'll kind of dissolve, and then put it in a spray bottle. And then I have a magnesium spray. That way I can spray it on my arms, my legs, my feet, and get it that way. Reflexology, yes, lymph drainage for sure, definitely. Reflexology is another one. There's reflexology, acupuncture, Reiki. I mean, there are so many alternative alternative things that you can look at that will help as well. I know for me, chiropractor was something that I did. It really helped with sort of clearing my head and my brain. I'm not quite sure, I guess getting everything in alignment, that's why. I've loved massage therapy for when I was going through the detox from all of my prescription medications. And I really want to try float therapy. I hear it's absolutely amazing, but I haven't done that yet. And reflexology is something you can Google, look up all the different reflex points, and you can do work on your hands, on your feet. You can do that on yourself, which is really nice. Or you can go to a practitioner if there's one that's available near you. Another big thing is antioxidants. I use a few different antioxidants. I actually use one of my main things that I use, and the reason why you want antioxidants is antioxidants fight free radicals in the body, and free radicals cause cellular damage, and it just is going to degrade your body to the point where you have illness and disease and things like that coming in. So antioxidants is important. I use a kind of like a puree drink that's an antioxidant and an adaptogen, and I take that daily as part of my sort of daily supplement supply stuff of things that I take. A couple other ones I know that I researched that are big for fibromyalgia is omegas. Omegas are great for everything, brain, heart health, and a whole host of things. Google omegas, they're amazing. Vitamin D3 was another one that kept coming up as well, so maybe take a look into that. Another huge one is gut health, and there's all sorts of stuff on leaky gut and all sorts of things like that. So I found that really watching what I was eating, getting onto a really good quality prebiotic, probiotic, and also a digestive enzyme has made a huge difference for me, especially the digestive enzyme. I didn't even know they were a thing. I can send you information if you're looking for information on digestive enzymes as well. Made a big difference, and really happy with that. Another big thing is finding some stress relieving activities. For me, that means going to recipe of the drink, Ningxia. Actually, yes, Ningxia is one of the things that I use. That's my adaptogen drink that I use as a daily supplement type thing for my body. I found it's really helped with so many different things. Stress relieving activities, that's something that's huge, because I know stress is a massive thing for flare-ups for me with my fibromyalgia. So I do yoga actually at a studio once a week. They have a wonderful candlelit yoga that I try to get out to, and if I can't, then I make sure I do it at home. Ningxia, I can send you some information about the Ningxia, Joanne. It's made with wolfberries, and wolfberries are an adaptogen and also one of the highest antioxidant things out there. So it sort of fights two things with one thing. Anyways, I'll send you some information on that. So you need to find stress relieving activities, and I would say meditation is a huge one. There's lots of apps out there, so you can download an app and work on doing some meditation. Journaling, I know, is something that's really great for a lot of people, for stress relief. I have a headset that I will put on because I find noise tends to really cause a lot of stress with me, and I will put on just really gentle sounds of the ocean, and then that way I can just lie there and relax, and I'm canceling everything else out that's around me, and just listen to the ocean sounds, and it helps to calm my breathing down. I know there's also with yoga, something to do with the nostril breathing, I don't know the word for it, but that's also supposed to be really good for stress as well. And then one last one that I find that's really important is mindset. And this one I think is one that I've been a part of so many fibromyalgia support groups over the years, and I was always a very negative person. I think I drove my husband nuts with this. I was always not just the glass is half full, the glass has got a crack in it and it's leaking and it's never going to even be half full. And now I am way beyond that. I'm not just that the glass is half full. I'm grateful that I have a glass. I'm grateful that I have something to put in my glass, and it's always overflowing. So that's, I think, been a huge thing for me. I listen to audiobooks because I'm on the go literally all the time. I probably should relax a little bit more, but because I'm on the go all the time, I'll listen to audiobooks while I'm working, while I'm cleaning, while I am, yes, mindset and positive feelings. And so I listen to audiobooks, and I listen to tons of positive mindset type things. And I think it drives people around me crazy because I'm going, oh, you have to listen to this, or you got to hear this. But I find it has really made a huge difference on the way that I see things. And I always used to laugh. My mom would say she'd be talking to some friends or some neighbors, and they would say, oh, people are just so miserable and grumpy all the time. And I go out to the stores and, you know, the waitress is grumpy and the people in the stores are miserable and grumpy. And my mom goes, geez, I don't have that experience at all. She says, everybody I come across is always smiling and happy. They're chatting with me and holding the door for me and saying, oh, it was wonderful to speak with you and chat with you. And it's all because of the mindset. If you are positive and happy and seeing the good in everything, then that's what comes back to you. So with the fibromyalgia support groups, as important as they were to me, I find that's probably the main thing that is lacking, is the positive mindset. And it is extremely difficult to have a positive mindset when you are in pain all the time. But it's not going to help you having a negative mindset. And I know it's something that I struggled with for so many years. Now that I can see the difference, I try to encourage people, but it's something that you can kind of, I guess, lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. So all you can do is try and show positiveness to the people around you that are struggling and that are having a difficult time, whether it be with fibromyalgia or an autoimmune disease or any other chronic illness. Be that light for them so that maybe they will find their way out of the dark. And yeah, see what you can do for positive mindset. Okay, so what else did I have in here? Oh, there was a couple other things that I had tried too over the years, and things that maybe you could take a look into. The big thing right now is CBD oil, or actually using medicinal marijuana. Something you can take a look at. I know I've heard a lot of fibromyalgia patients say they've had great success using CBD oil. Christina Smith's Live Beautiful. Oh, I'll have to check that out. Thank you so much. Diane, yes, mindset, so important. Definitely very difficult. Find a friend that can keep you in a positive mindset. Definitely, yes. And if you have somebody that is the exact opposite, that's living in a really negative mindset, try and help them, but sometimes they're going to have to find that time where they eventually can make that change over themselves. So don't beat yourself up over it if you can't seem to get through to them. It just may be something that's going to take them time, and it might be 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years from now. But don't give up on them. So yeah, CBD oil, something to definitely take a look at, but just be aware it's not going to be a cure-all. It's not going to magically make everything better. It is just another tool that you can put in your toolbox to work with fibromyalgia. I know I've had friends that have made up CBD creams for me, and I've turned to them every now and then when I've had a flare-up. And found, yes, they've definitely given me some relief. So it's something that I will always definitely look towards and try, but it isn't the only thing that I use for sure. Another thing that I use, dairy. Did I find dairy is an issue? Actually, Dairy was the first thing that I did get rid of, but I found when I actually went gluten-free, and I did that for 2 years because I had a son that had a very severe gluten intolerance. He wasn't celiac, but very, very severe gluten intolerance. We found once we were gluten-free for about 6 months, dairy actually wasn't an issue anymore. And I've heard lots of people say that once they got rid of the gluten, the dairy allergy, or not allergy, but sensitivity seemed to disappear. So play with it. There's also something called food map diet. Maybe take a look into that, and also elimination diets. So you can Google those and look and see. But I found that the gluten, I think, was a little bit more of an issue. Hi, Christy. Good to see you on. So yeah, so CBD to look into, essential oils, of course, because I'm a crazy essential oil lady and use them for everything. TENS machine. Now this was one of the very first things I actually looked at, because I'd used TENS machine with labor before. Hi. And yeah, the TENS is, I don't even know the proper word, trans-electronic neuromuscular stimulator or something like that. I don't know. It's like you see on TV where they put the pads on you and it's all hooked up to the little machine, and it gives you electrical shocks and causes the muscles to contract and stuff like that. The TENS is really good because it disrupts the pathway for pain. So it literally kind of tricks your brain into thinking that the pain isn't there or something like that. Google about it. I'm not the scientist on this or anything. I found I did get some relief from it. It was probably the first thing I turned to when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, but it only helped me when I was using it. The second I turned it off, it didn't work anymore. So as a tool to deal with something in the moment, it might be something you might want to look at, but for chronic long-term, I didn't find that it worked personally, but you can always take a look at that. So that was that. And then we had touched on it before, but I want to just make sure I mention it, and that is prescription medications and over-the-counter medications. I am not saying that people shouldn't use those. I think it's the first thing that after being diagnosed, your doctor will put you on different prescription medications. It was what happened with me, and before I was diagnosed, I was self-medicating with over-the-counter medications like ibuprofen and naproxen and all of those type of things. And yes, definitely we can chat later, Crystal, about the different supplements and things that I use. But then I went from self-medicating with over-the-counter to the prescription medications that I was given. And I mean, when you go to the pharmacist, they do go over it all with you. The doctor really didn't talk a lot about what the, yes, Pat, I can definitely send you some information too, that they really didn't discuss, I don't think, enough what all of the possible side effects are. And if you actually even just out of something as simple as your ibuprofen, take a look at the little insert that comes with it and read through it and see what the possible complications and side effects are from taking that. And then start looking at the different sleep aids that they prescribe for you, muscle relaxers, antidepressants, your fibromyalgia specific drugs like Lyrica, Cymbalta, gabapentin. Start doing some research online and see what some of the side effects are for these things. And then you've got to make your own decision as to how comfortable you are as to whether the relief that you're going to get from those products are worth the possible side effects. And I know for me, they weren't. That was why I worked so hard to try and find natural alternatives that I could use to get off of the medications. Now, I know some people, there are certain medications they may never, ever be able to get off of, and that's something that they will just have to live with. Maybe they can use less of certain medications, so if they have some natural ways of being able to manage some of the symptoms that they have. So I think I've kind of, Lyrica, weight gain, so there's another thing from it. To me, weight gain would be one of the lesser concerns. I know there's lots of very serious side effects from a lot of different medications. I mean, some medications carry risks of kidney failure, liver failure, cancer. There's so many huge side effects for some medications that you really do need to do your research on it and decide if not having heartburn is worth possible liver failure or whatever. I mean, you know what I mean, where I'm coming from. When maybe there's like a probiotic or digestive enzyme or a herb or an oil or something that may help with the same sort of symptoms. So lots of things you can start researching. I hope I gave you guys a whole bunch of ideas. I just want to let you know I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not in the healthcare field at all. I'm just a mom, grandma, and this is my experiences of what have happened with me and how I've dealt with them. So anything that you decide that you want to research and look into and everything else, make sure you get all of your information and discuss it with your healthcare team. I hope that you have not just specifically a single doctor. You should have really a full team of people that are all working with you from all different fields, and discuss what you want to do and what options are out there. And if you're not getting the answers that you want from your healthcare provider that you're dealing with, then start looking elsewhere and see if you can find somebody that you can work with and that understands where you're coming from and understands your concerns. Some fibromyalgia medications, you have to go off into the hospital, detox from them. I would actually not be surprised about that. Luckily, when I talked to my doctor when I was going off of mine, he didn't have any of those type of concerns with the ones I was on. The main thing is he said I definitely would be going through withdrawal for definitely a few weeks off of the opiates. So yes, I had to deal with detox, and there's lots of things you can do to help with detox as well. So anyways, I've babbled on, I think, for way too long. Please feel free to personal message me and leave comments, and I will try and get back to you all. And please share this out with anybody that you think might get some help from it. And I hope it starts some discussions with people and that maybe they look at some options out there. So anyways, hope you all have a great afternoon. Love you all, and please take care. Bye-bye.